There is a rumor circulating in the dark corners of WNBA Twitter, buried deep in the replies of anonymous accounts and deleted Reddit threads. It is a whisper that became a shout during the Indiana Fever's first 10 games. And now, thanks to digital forensics and hours of game tape, we might finally have the proof. We aren't just talking about bad officiating. We aren't talking about the standard rookie whistle that every first-year player deals with. We're talking about a coordinated, top-down directive to humble the biggest star women's basketball has ever seen. The headline is simple: the order. The theory? That before the season even started, a message was sent from the old guard to the officiating crews and the locker rooms of the league's enforcers. The message was, let them hit her. Let them teach her a lesson. Do not protect Caitlin Clark. You think I'm reaching? You think this is just fanboy conspiracy? Look at the screen right now. Pause at the 0.8-second mark of this clip from the Chicago Sky game. Look at the referee on the baseline. He isn't watching the ball. He isn't watching the feet to check for a stepping out of bounds violation. His eyes are locked on Chennedy Carter as she lines up Caitlin Clark for a hip check that had nothing to do with basketball. He sees the windup. He sees the intent. He sees the impact. He sees the fall. And his whistle stays in his pocket until the outrage from the crowd practically forces a review. That wasn't a missed call. That was permission. To understand why this is happening, we have to peel back the layers of jealousy, money, NCAA history, and hierarchy that define the WNBA culture war right now. This is the story of how the league tried to break its golden goose and why it failed. Let's start with the spark, the incident that turned this from a basketball discussion into a forensic investigation. It is the Chennedy Carter foul. Everyone saw the hip check. Everyone saw the ball wasn't even in play, but nobody talked about what happened 3 hours later. Carter didn't apologize. She didn't say it was in the heat of the moment. She went to social media and liked tweets calling Clark soft and overrated. In a normal league, the front office steps in. They find the player, they issue a statement, they protect the asset. The WNBA did nothing until the clip hit 20 million views on Twitter and the mainstream sports media started asking questions the league didn't want to answer. Why the hesitation? Because Carter was doing exactly what the culture demanded. She was the enforcer. When you look at the slow motion footage of that foul, notice the reaction of the Chicago Sky bench. Angel Reese stands up and applauds. This isn't just two players beefing. This is a team-wide understanding that the new wave needs to be physically punished for the attention they are getting. It is a sanctioning of violence under the guise of competition. But to truly understand the why, we have to go back to the source. We have to go back to the old guard and the specific podcast clips that set the stage for this war. The narrative that Caitlin Clark was going to be hunted didn't start on opening night. It started months earlier with the quote that sounded like analysis but was actually a dog whistle. Diana Taurasi, the greatest of all time, went on SportsCenter and said, "Reality is coming." She said it with a smirk. She said it with the confidence of someone who knows how the sausage is made. She looked Scott Van Pelt in the eye and essentially guaranteed that the rookie would struggle. The media played it off as a veteran giving advice, but listen to the tone again. Reality is coming. That wasn't a prediction, it was a promise. It was a signal to every veteran in the league, when she gets here, we are going to show her. It validated the animosity before Clark even stepped on the court. It gave every defender permission to treat her differently because the GOAT said she wasn't ready. And then there's Sheryl Swoopes. If Diana Taurasi was the general issuing orders, Swoopes was the propaganda minister. Weeks before the draft, Swoopes went on a podcast and tried to delegitimize Caitlin Clark's NCAA scoring record. She falsely claimed Caitlin needed 5 years to break the record due to COVID eligibility, when Clark actually did it in 4. She claimed Clark took 40 shots a game. These were objectively false statements. Why would a legend of the game lie about a college student? Because the old guard felt threatened. They saw the media adoration, the commercials, the Ponytail Pete nickname, and they felt their own legacy being erased. They needed to control the narrative that Clark was a product of hype, not talent. And the referees, they're part of that ecosystem. They have been officiating Taurasi, Dewana Bonner, and Breanna Stewart for a decade. They know who runs the league. When the queens of the WNBA say she needs to learn, the officials interpret that as swallow the whistle. Let's look at the technical foul disparity. This is the smoking gun of the psychological warfare. Caitlin Clark picked up 3 technical fouls in her first month. For what? For throwing her hands up in frustration? For yelling at the stanchion? Meanwhile, watch this clip of Alyssa Thomas screaming directly into a ref's face for 10 seconds straight. No whistle. Watch this clip of Diana Taurasi bumping an official while arguing a call. No whistle. Watch the way Draymond Green gets treated in the NBA versus a rookie. It's the same dynamic. The message is clear. You haven't earned the right to speak. You haven't earned the right to have emotions. This goes deeper than just rookie versus vet. This is about the NCAA hierarchy that Clark disrupted. The WNBA has been built on a specific pipeline for 20 years. UConn, Tennessee, South Carolina. You wait your turn, you kiss the ring, and eventually you get the calls. Caitlin Clark bypassed the line. She came from Iowa, an outsider program. She didn't have the backing of Dawn Staley or Gino Auriemma in the pros. She broke the scoring record held by Kelsey Plum. She signed a $28 million Nike deal before playing a single pro minute. You think the players grinding for 10 years on $200,000 contracts didn't feel that? We have to talk about the money. The jealousy in the WNBA isn't just about points. It's about lifestyle. For years, WNBA legends flew commercial. They squeezed into economy seats. They had layovers. Then, Caitlin Clark arrives, and suddenly, the security concerns are so high that the league is forced to implement a charter flight program. The veterans resented that it took a white girl from Iowa to get the benefits they had been begging for decades. You could see it in the interviews. Every time a veteran was asked about the charter flights, they pivoted to, "We've been fighting for this." They refused to credit the catalyst. This resentment boiled over in the Team USA snub. You think that was just about basketball fit? That was the final seal of approval on the Humble Her campaign. By leaving her off the Olympic team, the selection committee, comprised of WNBA insiders, validated the idea that she wasn't ready. It gave every defender in the league license to treat her like a scrubbing freshman. It told the world, we don't think she's special. If the Olympic committee says she's not good enough, why should a ref give her a star whistle? And the physical toll has been brutal. We aren't talking about hard screens. We're talking about face guarding 94 feet. We're talking about Diamond DeShields sprinting into her and sending her flying. We're talking about the welcome to the league moments that look more like assault than defense. Let's break down the specific rivalry with Angel Reese, because this is the soap opera engine of the league. This beef didn't start in the WNBA. It started in the 2023 National Championship game. We all remember the "you can't see me" gesture. Reese taunted Clark in the final moments. The internet exploded. It became a culture war. Black versus white, swagger versus skill, LSU versus Iowa. When they both entered the league, that toxicity followed them. Watch the body language in the Chicago Sky versus Indiana Fever games. It is pure theater. When Angel Reese gets an offensive rebound over Clark, she screams. When Clark hits a 3 over Reese, she runs back on defense, stone face. But look closer at the tunnel fits. This is where the subliminal messaging happens. Angel Reese shows up in villain-themed outfits. She embraces the role. She wears shirts that reference her podcast quotes. Clark shows up in corporate Nike gear, refusing to engage. The silence from Clark infuriates the opposition even more. They want a reaction. They want her to crash out. And when she doesn't, they hit her harder. There was a moment against the New York Liberty where Breanna Stewart set a screen on Clark. Stewart is the MVP. She knows how to set a legal screen. But watch the tape. She extends the knee. She leans the shoulder. It was a message sent from the president of the Players Association. It was the establishment saying, "You were small, we are big. Learn your place." But here's where the plot failed. Here's the twist in the soap opera that the producers didn't anticipate. They tried to break her physically. They tried to gaslight her with the whistle.
They tried to freeze her out of the Olympic narrative. And what happened? She didn't fold. She started dishing 13 assists a game. She started recording triple-doubles. She started pulling up from the logo in the face of the very veterans who said she couldn't do it. The secret order backfired. Instead of humbling her, they radicalized her fan base. Every missed call, every hard foul, every petty quote from Sheryl Swoopes just made the Caitlin Clark hive stronger. They turned a basketball player into a martyr. The discourse shifted. It went from Caitlin needs to adjust to the league is bullying a 22-year-old. The financial reality also hit the league office. The Indiana Fever games were the only ones selling out NBA-size arenas. The TV ratings for Clark's games were triple the rest of the league. The WNBA realized that if they let their veterans break Caitlin Clark, they were breaking their own bank accounts. You can't kill the golden goose and expect to keep collecting the eggs. Now, look at the body language of the officials in the last 3 games before the break. Notice the shift. The whistle is starting to blow. The technical fouls on Clark have stopped, but the technicals on her opponents are rising. The league sent a new memo. The secret order has been rescinded. Why? Because Clark proved she belongs. She took the hits, she took the podcast slander, she took the snubs, and she broke the single-game assist record anyway. So what is the verdict? Was there a written memo sent to referees in May? Probably not on paper. You don't need a paper trail when you have a culture. The culture said, stop her. The culture said, she's not one of us. The culture said, protect the hierarchy. But the beautiful thing about basketball is that the ball doesn't care about your hierarchy. The ball doesn't care about your tenure. And neither does Caitlin Clark. In the end, the receipts show a league at war with its own future. They threw the kitchen sink at a rookie. They tried to soap opera her out of the league. And all they did was prove her point. If you want to see the specific deleted tweets from the Chicago Sky players that prove this was personal and the video breakdown of Sheryl Swoopes' incorrect stats, click the link in the description for the Locker Room Confidential dossier. We archived everything before they scrubbed it. The reality came all right, but it wasn't for Caitlin. It was for everyone else.